Hey, what's up guys, it's Mark Yoon and I attempt to bring you another hopefully exciting video. First of all, I just want to extend my condolences and make sure that you guys are being safe out there. I know you're getting hit over the head with all these instructions and things to do, and we're being threatened with self-quarantine and stuff like that, but just try to keep a chin up and let's just keep watching these things to distract us. So, a little bit of good news that came out yesterday is we finally got Spawn. Now, I live on the East Coast, so I had a chance to play with him around 1 p.m., which would have been 10 a.m. PT, which is when he was released. And my first impressions with the character is there is a learning curve associated with him. He has a lot of moves that will go into setups that will set up combos and things to that nature. He's got a lot of very specific moves. I don't know if that was intentional or if it was instructed by McFarlane, because like he actually has a heavy hand in his like creations being in other things. After a couple like minutes, you do pick it up, and you'll learn once you learn to flow, which I think is the most important part of the character. Then you'll start to be able to play around with certain scenarios and situations, so you can start to lab him to figure out like what actually works and what doesn't, how many frames it takes. How much total damage you could do with combos and stuff. I've seen combos for Spawn go up to 45%, but that's only what I've played with so far. I know I've gotten reports, especially from buddies of mine, that it's gone up to 80%. I just haven't been able to pull that off yet. But let's just go into a little bit about the character and specifics. And in the background, you'll see my gameplay. And this is my first impression gameplay. This is my first iterations with the character, so I haven't really delved too much into him at this point. I just recorded this early gameplay footage so as to have background video for this to go along with the video. So the first thing I want to mention is Spawn's down and X, his kick, more or less. Now he only really uses an actual kick when he's in the air, when he's mid-air. For any other time that you use the button alongside of that, the X will work as chains. Now his chains will usually do like a simulated like uppercut style move, and this is usually to either A, stop a combo, or B, start a setup. It's also been used mid combo for switching different types of setups, and this is, I'm just going based off of the first variation of the character, which is the Hellspawn variation, I believe. I didn't get too much hands-on time with the second variation. I did create my own variation after I completed 2 of his towers, because you get rewards from that, obviously. I just wanted to mix it up and play around a little bit. So those chains, the X, especially the down and X for sweeping, and the regular X for just like the stopping combos, is actually very useful, but that's very much on the defensive side of the character. I would say, unless you're using it mid-combo, that's only really going to be utilized if somebody's actually in the midst of a combo, like attacking your mid. Also, like what I want to get into next is the circle functionality. So if you actually press back and circle, Spawn has this minion that kind of summons that sweeps at the character's feet, and if you look closely, this character is actually a charred version of the opponent that you're fighting. So like, for example, if you're fighting Johnny Cage, then it'll be a charred version of Johnny Cage that goes after his feet. I thought that was pretty neat. And it was just, it's useful obviously to use to trip somebody up so they're not like barreling towards you, because Spawn is an all-arounder. Like, he's got zoning, he's got up close and personal stuff, he's got keep away stuff. So I mean, if you're an all-rounder kind of character, like someone that you would use like Jade, then you're going to love this character. He does have his machine guns, which you can actually, as a special move, which you can actually use the enhanced version of. So I believe it is back, forward, and square. And then if you tap R1, that's when you'll see from the videos the commando Spawn moving forward with the 2 machine guns pointed directly at the character instead of using it as an anti-aerial, which is the original point of the first, because he'll shoot one mid and then the others are high. That's actually really good for someone who jumps. I'm a jumping opponent. I like to start my combos with jumps, and I often get punished for it, but for me, it just like gets me into the flow of the character better in the middle of the match. So I'm working on switching up that style, but you'll see me using that style a lot in the videos probably, because that's usually what I try to go for. I've been doing it since like Street Fighter 2, so I really got to break that bad habit. His uppercuts are okay. His uppercut, he actually uses his cape, the K-17, which is the name of the symbiote. So if he'll do like a slight uppercut, and the cape like comes around like over his hand, and it doesn't have too much range. It's pretty good. It can obviously go into a breaker, like showing the inside the person's jaw, whatever. You guys have seen it before. I don't need to explain that. But it's useful for certain scenarios. I wouldn't say it's one of those things where you could definitely just like jump, down punch, and an uppercut, because it is easily punished, and the frames are kind of long with it, so you are standing there wide open for at least 2 frames that I've noticed. So that's also a technique that you should use mid-combo or to end a combo, not something that you should just willy-nilly just jump in and try and uppercut somebody, because it's not going to work, and you're going to not do as much damage as you expect anyway, so it's not even worth it. It's very high risk, very low reward. So I would stay away from that if I were you. I mean, again, we have all different gameplay styles, so that's just my opinion. Besides that, we also have other specials that he obviously runs, but the first thing I want to talk about before that is his one of the main combos that I discovered. It's like a jump and then a down, and then you kind of do square, 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 triangle to end it, and if you hold the triangle, it has a chance of going into his breaker, but I believe it's only if the opponent is blocking and then stops blocking mid-combo. That's when I've noticed it's happened. I have to lab him still and play around with that, but that's when you'll get like this extra spikes coming out of his gauntlet, and he does like an extra end to the combo. His specials are pretty decent. He's got one special that's actually pretty useful, but it is high risk, high reward. I forget exactly what the move is called, but I believe it is down, back, and circle, and when you initiate that, you'll be flooded with a green aura, and that'll allow you to actually use your L2-R2 early. But what happens if you do use it early, like if you're trying to gain an upper hand quickly in the fight, you're not going to be able to have it at the end of the match when you may need it, when your health drops below 30%. If you do use that when your health is below 30%, you will do extra increased damage with it. So it is very high risk, but it also does have a very high reward. It's utilized, I believe, more so for boss fights to gain the upper hand really fast, so you have a lot of health to deal a lot of damage, especially against someone like Chronica. But besides that, it's going to be independent how you actually play it with the character, but that's how I noticed myself using it, so that's all I can really go on. A lot of the other techniques he does are pretty standard. He's got like a flying punch that's surrounded by energy. He's got low ground attack that's usually used in combos with his machine guns. His grab is pretty cool. Actually, helpful hint, if you do his square and triangle grab forward, if you do his forward grab at the end of a match and you keep tapping forward without tapping the square and triangle, so just you initiate the grab while holding forward and then you just tap forward, he'll end with a special brutality. So that'll be helpful, because I know in his towers, in order to get on his second tower to Shang Tsung, you need to do at least 5 brutalities, or I believe it's 3 brutalities and 5 fatalities. So that could be very helpful and useful when you're actually trying to initiate that battle, because you have to unlock it first before you can do it. And I just wanted to give that little helpful hint and tip. You can actually see it here. It's the brutality finisher where he ends up being in the chair afterwards, the skull throne or whatever. Overall, I'd say his speed is a little on the slower side, but he makes up for it in combos, especially when he jumps. He can be a bit floaty. The glide being initiated isn't quite like Batman's from Injustice 2, but it's similar enough. But you do stay in the air pretty long, and you're pretty slow, so it is easily punishable. So if you're using someone like Sonya, who has very good aerial capabilities, or even Jackie Briggs, like you're gonna get punished if you keep using that. So I would stay away from that. It's very situational. But that's it, guys. Those are my thoughts and first impressions on Spawn. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment down below in the comment section if you did play as the character, or what you're most excited about, or what you liked from the video. And that will definitely be used in a future video. I'm planning on doing that for my Friday video once everyone has enough time with the character to leave a comment. So share the video and like it so that it gets around more, so we get a better video on Friday. Thanks for watching, and as always, guys, peace.